Am I the asshole for chucking out my tenant for using toilet paper? Edit. People who have never traveled outside their parents' houses in the U.S., who have never seen a bidet, jet spray in life, and have no understanding that not using a toilet paper is the norm in some countries, please do not pass your judgment. You all are judging me for having a bidet at home. Calling me an asshole for not having a proper septic tank. Some of you people are asking me to get a new place to accommodate an American. WTF. Please only give me a verdict if you understand my question. Could I have dealt with the situation in a better manner, or I overreacted? I am not asking her to not use toilet paper but to dump it in a way that is expected in my country. And I threw her out for the same reason. Was it too harsh? Could I have dealt with it better? Please do not show your entitlement here. Edit 2. I am done with this topic now. I accept all the "you are the assholes" that are given to me for not communicating better to B about what I expected her to do at the very beginning of her stay. Although I did communicate everything within 10 days of her moving in. She didn't listen and continued her behavior for 2 months, after which I confronted her. Thank you others for the not the assholes. To all those giving me "you are the assholes" for having weird demands, my country's norms are not weird, just different than yours. I thought this sub was accommodating, but I feel attacked. To all those asking me to mention my country in the op, why? I see so many posts here and none of them have people specifically mentioning that they are from America. Reddit is for everyone. I posted about a normal situation that occurred in normal settings and hence didn't see the need to mention my country. If it sounded abnormal to you, you could have asked for my country of origin. And #X200B. Hear me out. So I've my ex's sister staying at my place since the past 2 months. This accommodation arrangement was made before I broke up with my ex, so I let her stay despite my breakup. She plans to stay for 2 more. Let's call her B. We let her stay rent-free, our cook cooks for her and our cleaning maid cleans her room and takes out her trash as well. All B pays for is her own personal stuff. On day 2 I noticed her ordering a huge amount of toilet paper, so I went and spoke to her about not flushing the toilet papers down the toilet as the pipes might get choked or the septic tank may get some issues. She made a weird face but said okay. On day 4 or 5 my cleaning lady came up to me saying that she won't clean B's washroom or dispose of the trash as it stinks, as the dustbin is full of shit-stained tissues. I spoke to B about it and asked her not to use the tissues and use the jet spray instead. She was more vocal in showing her displeasure this time and said that I am unnecessarily creating an issue and I have no right to tell her what to wipe her ass with. I told her she is welcome to use the paper as long as she dispose of her own trash from now on. The trash van comes at 8 in the morning and B is hardly up at that time, so she continuously misses to dump the trash. As a result, her washroom stinks a lot. Anytime I remind her, she's annoyed and make excuses. She dumps it once a week or so. She also doesn't let the cleaning lady clean her room because she also comes super early while B is sleeping. My mother is pissed off as the marble floors would be stained if not cleaned daily. B says who cleans up daily and that we are troubling her unnecessarily with weird requests. Yesterday the gov. Sweeper complained to us that he'll stop coming to our house to pick up trash if we dump shit-stained paper wrapped in a plastic in the dry waste. He has to segregate plastic from the garbage with his own hands. I conveyed it to B and told her to wrap her used rolls in maybe a newspaper and dispose them, or simply use a jet spray. She lost it and started accusing me of not minding my business, trying to impose my culture on her and how it disgusts her to wash shit with hands and how it is a wastage of water. She also said that she won't wrap anything in newspaper as she's not touching used toilet paper. I was so pissed off I also yelled at her and asked her to vacate my place ASAP. She called me an asshole for creating a ruckus over toilet paper and she's not talking to me now. I can see her packing her stuff and now I feel terrible because I am chucking her out in the middle of a pandemic. Her brother also called me up to yell at me about how he can do this, and I am just bitter about the breakup and taking it out on his sister. But I can't handle this toilet roll issue any longer. B's being inconsiderate and disrespectful to her hosts. She doesn't see it that way, calls it a minor cultural difference and think I'm an asshole. Am I the asshole? Y'all. The poster lives in India where, in fact, most pipes cannot accommodate toilet paper. Millions of people across the world cannot flush TP and instead use bidets or just throw the TP in the trash. Stop telling OP that they are wrong about their own plumbing. Please consider that other people live differently from you. Not the asshole she lives rent-free and is refusing to keep a sanitary environment. Not the asshole. This lady is not a good guest. She feels entitled to have your household staff and garbage man rummage through her feces because she's too precious to splash some water on her ass. Love how Western this sub is at this time of day LMAO. Not the asshole, she's a guest in your home and your country and needs to conform if she wants to stay. No wonder us Americans get seen as horrible rude people by so many other countries, my goodness. Okay, so you have a bidet, I take it, for your toilet so that your pipes don't get clogged up with paper waste. Smart idea. You tried your best to accommodate her and she simply didn't listen or care, so no, you're not the asshole, please kick her out please. For future reference, you may want to just explain that the pipes are narrow and cannot handle the paper. The bidet is not so much a cultural thing than a practical thing. Not the asshole. I've never understood the idea that using toilet paper alone is good enough. I mean, if you somehow got shit on your hands, would you wipe them with a paper towel or napkin, and consider yourself good to go, or b, wash your fucking hands? A bidet seems like the more sanitary choice for number twos. I'm in Canada, and bidets aren't super common here, true for most of North America. But if I'm at home, I always have a shower after a poop and wipe. The idea of not washing, no matter how well you wipe, is disgusting to me. Then there's the plumbing, septic tank issues. If B is unwilling to pay to have this shit, haha, fixed when it breaks, then she needs to follow her host's rules, or GTFO. You're definitely not the asshole here. Not the asshole. Which country are you from? In any case, she is living in your house in your country, so she should be abiding by the norms of the household and country in particular. She is living rent-free and I am assuming without a rent agreement, so yeah, you can ask her to leave if she is causing you inconvenience. Am I the asshole for walking right back out with my little brother? My little brother, 7 years old, has unfortunately had an incident at school and we were advised to take him to the hospital just to get him checked. Super stressful because the marks look like he's been attacked at school. This has happened before. My mum found them when he got home. Anyways, mum and her partner, brother's dad, quite a volatile relationship putting it nicely, had both had a drink so couldn't drive. No probs, I'll drive. So I did. My mum is an alcoholic, she literally brought drink in the car with her. I ended up being the one going in with my brother, only one adult allowed, as she said she wanted to stay in the car. So I'm already a tad annoyed. I was fine staying with my brother, just couldn't quite believe she chose not to. So we get back to the house, both have had quite a drink, immediately start their usual sniping over some really stupid issue. I just saw my brother dejectedly wander off to his playroom, after God knows what happened today, and voiced, "That's it, I'm taking him with me. Can't believe you're arguing when your poor son has had such a shit time." My mum made it very clear she didn't want me to take him, it's nearly his bedtime, and I physically pushed past her arm and said, "Nope, you're both drinking as usual and I'm not leaving him here." And I walked out with him. When I believed they had calmed down, I took him back. Was out about an hour with him. They were obviously very stressed, and there is more to this, but I took my brother out of his home against my mum's wishes. Am I the asshole? Update. Just realized I can actually edit my post when I replied to the top comment. So sorry that my brain has quite clearly fallen out. I've been very quiet. I had so much anger and complex emotions coursing through me when I posted this, I just took a big breather. Wanted to first of all thank for the serious amount of love and assurance I've had that I did the right thing. I've been crying reading all this support from strangers. The facts do stand. My mum and her partner showed just how shit they can be in this situation, and my mum made me feel very bad for taking him away. Hence the post. We have had child services out before due to situations, and they have passed their checks. Is this questionable? Yes, I think so. But I can't sit here and say this particular situation the norm, it isn't. He is looked after and well loved. This is more so why I felt like I was an asshole. I took him away from his mum and undermined their authority. Unfortunately, I believe their selfish actions just take over one too many times. Big issue? Yes indeed. I do worry about him. I know they argue a lot and I know there is heavy drinking involved. I lived with them for years. I know. I don't believe where I'm from I can just take him though. Anyways, to ease some worries, my brother has a phone that he knows how to call me on. He also knows how to do this from his iPad. We've been to school today for a meeting, and although all the questions haven't been answered, they are taking this very seriously and have put in some measures I'm happy with for now. As usual, I'm keeping a very close eye on him. I'm luckily only a 5 minutes drive away. My mum also apologized for what happened. and says she now understands why I did what I did. I think this has just been a big wake-up call for me though, and whilst I won't actively seek to remove him from the home yet, I will be keeping a log of incidents. I'm further going to suggest that my mum registers for some family support and guidance to hopefully ease tensions in the home for longer-term help. I might have to wait to have this discussion though, as although we are on better terms I'm still annoyed at her. Here's to just hoping I can actually help keep a family together. I don't have a desire to rip him away. I know how much my mum loves him. I'm perhaps optimistic, but rest be assured he very much will have a home with me if it comes to that. Again, many thanks to you all. Heart. Sorry. Further note that my mum raised holy hell when she discovered the marks he came home with from school. My brother showed her when he got home. She was beside herself. Hence the immediate meeting with school that happened today. I have taken pictures of this, and I'm taking pictures every day to document the injury he has sustained to show the severity. Not the asshole. You need to do whatever it takes to be approved as a foster parent and call CPS on these people. They're clearly incapable of caring for a 7-year-old. Not the asshole. He deserves to be safe, but be careful as you could get in trouble if they called the police. You should report them to social services and go through the proper channels if he's living in an environment like that. NTA. I will say when she got drunk she stopped being his mom and became an alcoholic who is a danger to your brother. She chose drinking over your brother. It is sad for you that you have to be the parent in your family several times in this instance and probably a lot more in your life. You should not feel bad about this, but you might want to see about finding a new place for you and your brother to live, other family or even friends. Because this is not a safe environment for you and your brother, and you are not always going to be there to protect your brother, and you shouldn't have to give up your life to be a parent to your brother because his parents choose alcohol over everything. Definitely not. You're a great sister and CPS should have been notified about this kind of neglect. Not the asshole. You are a very good sibling, sister? Your brother needs more help than you can provide here, he's being neglected. I am loath to suggest that you call CPS, but something needs to be done. One of the counselors at his school maybe? Not the asshole for taking him under these conditions. I agree with your decision. It sounds like his home life is incredibly unhealthy and your mom needs serious help at this stage of alcoholism. Are they abusive? Does he have food, clean clothes, toys, a happy home life? If he doesn't have any of those things, this cycle could potentially continue. Your brother and you deserve better. Please, I beg you, take care of him and then take care of yourself. The hardest thing you may have to do is contact CPS if they truly are not taking care of him. You have all the comforting thoughts I can muster for this situation, and I hope you are able to heal and grow beyond this. Please call CPS. If this is an ongoing problem with alcohol consumption, there should always be one sober caregiver when a child is present. Not the asshole. And #X200B. But you might consider involving CPS. How old are you? Am I the asshole for canceling my daughter's graduation dinner until she apologizes to her dad? My 42 daughter, 22, recently graduated from her bachelor studies in computer sciences. She got first position academically, and while I could not be more proud of her, I think I am justified in what I did. Studies had been tough for her because she chose this field, but thanks to my darling husband, 47, who works in the same field, she was able to cope, perform better, stay at the top of her class. Honestly, the amount of effort husband put in the first year and a half was amazing, but daughter also worked hard, which is why she got to where she is today. Last week, there was an online graduation ceremony which was basically a slideshow of all the students who graduated and a live for the top 3 academically of each department and the top projects. The top academic ones were asked to deliver a speech as well, and this is where the problem started. In her speech, she started with, "I would like to thank my mother, family, teachers and especially senior year project supervisor." She was in another room delivering the speech and I was with my husband watching it live stream, and I was hurt by the look on his face. This guy who stayed up till late to help daughter, sometimes took a day off from work to prepare her for an exam or presentation, and the one who was more invested in her senior year project than even her, could not get a single mention in that speech. It was not my place to be named exclusively, but this was not acceptable for me. I did ask him if he was okay, and he tried to play it off by saying, "Yeah, what's wrong?" He is a terrible liar and cannot pull a poker face. When the ceremony ended, I confronted her about this and she saw no problem because, that is just a standard speech. She even asked husband and he said, "No issues," trying to avoid eye contact. I asked daughter to apologize to her father and she refused because she does not see the problem and husband is also, okay, and we should get ready for the reservation we had later. I told her she could go by herself because I am not going, knowing my husband would not go either. Daughter is angry that we are ruining her day. I say she just needs to acknowledge her fault and be done with. She has not talked with me for the whole week and also her father. My husband wants to ignore this and my friends say that, she is still a kid. I know this is not my fight but I refuse to budge because for me, this was a disrespect for my husband and I can't let that go. Am I the asshole? And #X200B. Edit. Sorry for getting back so late. I read a lot of the comments and would like to add. 1. A lot of people need reading skills. If the same person is being referred to as husband and daughter's father, he is very likely the biological father. How is that even a question and problem? 2. It is a fair question to ask whether it feels like her efforts are being downplayed. The degree she applied to required a minimum of 50% to enter plus the university-specific test score. She got 60% and after cramming for a whole week prior the test, she made the list. She chose that degree because a lot of her friends were as well. I knew she was fighting a losing battle but thanks to husband and her efforts to change, she has shown remarkable improvement that puts her past self to shame. Yes, it's a person's internal drive and will to change that matters but why forget the catalyst? 3. I am not ignoring daughter's hard work. I am angry her oversight and refusal to admit any wrongdoing. She knows husband will avoid conflict but even I fail to understand why she did what she did. She did not give an answer then and if she admits that it was an oversight, that would be the end of it. 4. I know overbearing and helicopter parents. Husband is not one of them. Daughter has many woken him up from sleep for help. He did not give answers but provided methods to get to them, ergo a good teacher. I am not saying daughter cheated her way up the degree because after half the degree when tougher subjects are introduced, she became quite self-sufficient and responsible for her work. Info. I could not be more certain that there are some very important details here we're not getting. Honestly, the amount of effort husband put in the first year and a half was amazing but daughter also worked hard. You are being weirdly dismissive of the effort the degree earner put into earning the degree while praising your husband who wasn't even a student in this story. Speaking of that, there's also a weird amount of my husband throughout this instead of her father, though you do use that occasionally, which is giving me a whole not biological father vibe. So, what are you leaving out? There's obviously something else going on here and more to the story. From your perspective he was helping and doing her a favor but maybe from hers he wasn't as nice and helpful as you think etc. You are the asshole. You can't get offended on someone else's behalf. It's not your place to demand an apology from one adult to another. Your daughter asked her father, "Are you upset?" and he said, "No." Why he said that and why she believed it are issues between them, and your involvement is inappropriate and punitive. Info. Did you, at any point, talk to your daughter quietly and privately and ask her why she mentioned you but not her dad, and explain that this must have been hurtful to him, and maybe suggest to her that she should talk to him and apologize to him? Or did you just do it all in front of your husband, thereby twisting the knife a bit deeper? There's not enough information but I'm leaning towards you are the asshole. Speaking as someone whose parents helped me with my studies when I was in school, I think I would have chopped off my hands to make them stop helping. Something about your language is also really weird. Your darling husband was even more invested in your daughter's senior year project than she was? That sounds like a controlling nightmare to me. Sounds like she wasn't as happy about his help as you're making it out to be. An omission like that doesn't come out of nowhere. Your kid is an adult. Forcing her to write her graduation speech to include exactly whom you think she should be grateful to is a pretty asshole move. You are the asshole you the for inserting yourself in this and cancelling the celebratory dinner over a single word. She downplayed it as unintentional and your husband was prepared to let it go but you went nuclear and cancelled the dinner. Your daughter is potentially an because she could have gushed an apology to her dad and convinced him that she felt horrible for not mentioning him after everything he did. The fact that she did not do that suggests the possibility that this help he provided was of an overbearing and controlling nature and was resented by her much more than it was valued. If that is the case then you are being disingenuous in claiming she is at fault. And it shows that you have the same kind of overbearing controlling nature as her dad. And husband is also, okay, and we should get ready for the reservation we had later. You are the asshole. Stop telling people how they should feel. YTA. She earned her degree on her own. Don't dismiss her hard work because she got some help. She was the one doing the work. She can thank whoever she wants. And it sounds like your husband probably was pushy and your daughter didn't want him butting in. Hence why it only lasted a year. And now you're making her graduation about you and your pettiness? I can already see you posting an "Am I the asshole" in 5Y. Questioning why your daughter isn't in contact with you anymore. Am I the asshole for getting my roommate's boyfriend evicted? Mobile user. Sorry if this messes up the formatting. This has all happened in the past month, so it's weighing on me quite a bit as I've never been confrontational about anything. For some background, I, 25F, rent a townhouse along with 5 other girls. That's more roommates than I would like to have, but we all have our own rooms and some shared common areas, so there's plenty of room and it was never an issue in the 3 years I've rented it. One of these roommates, we'll call her Sue, 24F, moved in a boyfriend shortly after their relationship started. I've been close friends with Sue since school. We work in similar fields and have a lot of common interests, so it made sense for us to move into the same house. Everything was fantastic between us and the other girls we live with, until the boyfriend moved in. Sue's boyfriend began staying with us about a year and a half ago. It was not discussed with any of us, and he paid no rent and contributed nothing to the household. They both also virtually took over the common areas of the house, with his video games, books, and other items taking over the tables. He practically existed in the living room, playing games on my TV that I bought for everyone to share, and made it uncomfortable for anyone else to enjoy that entire space. On top of this, they'd also have sex in the common areas, which we'd all agreed would be against our house rules. It got to the point where I would have to knock before entering my own home, because leaving the door unlocked was part of the fun for them. When I raised my concerns about him staying with us, Sue would always get upset and claim he couldn't live in his own house, since his roommates had some sort of beef with him. The final straw came when a new girl moved in about a month ago. She was very kind and seemed a great fit for the house. However, Sue wasn't going to tell her about boyfriend living with us. So I told her myself, and no more than 2 weeks later she had moved out, saying he made her uncomfortable. Sue and boyfriend literally celebrated her departure, because as boyfriend put it, he didn't like her foreign accent. This is where my other roommates say I'm the asshole and went too far. In a fit of rage over their celebration, I went behind all of my roommates' backs, contacted our landlord and reported him as an illegal tenant. He was promptly evicted, and I was labeled TA. Some of my other roommates say I went too far and that we could have come to an agreement, while 2 are proud of me for doing what they've been wanting to do for over a year. Naturally, Sue is furious and is making my home life a living hell, so I'd love to hear others' takes on the situation. Too long did not read. Roommate's boyfriend lives with us rent-free and causes issues. I get him evicted. Edit. Our house has enough rooms for 7 people total. The new girl moving in made 6 roommates plus myself, and was discussed and approved by us and our landlord, when boyfriend was conveniently out of the house. The boyfriend made 8 people, so in the end after all was said and done, Sue and 2 other roommates are upset with me. 2 think I did the right thing. Back to 5 total roommates plus myself. Update. Thank you all for the overwhelming support. I feel a lot better now about my decision. As many pointed out, it likely would have been better to have done this a year ago, both to save them the blindside and myself the trouble, but better late than never. Sue has decided to stay indefinitely, with boyfriend and his roommates, so it looks like the reign of terror will be moving to those poor boys' house. I hope and pray those guys won't put up with it like we did. As for our friendship, I have no room in my life for that level of immaturity. Bros before hoes, and she has clearly chosen her hoe over me. If she one day chooses to apologize, I'll consider a second chance, but likely not if boyfriend is still in the picture. Thanks again everyone. Not the asshole. He wasn't on the lease, he paid no rent so he had no business living there for 1.5 years. Tell Sue to move in with her boyfriend somewhere else. By the way, your 2 other roomies are Oz for putting up with this crap for as long as they did. Not the asshole. There is nothing worse than moocher housemates who think they can take advantage of their roommate's kindness. Your other housemates probably low-key are happy. But don't want to express that because of the GF. LMAO. Not the asshole. Good for you. You were left with no other choice. I can't believe it went on as long as it did. He didn't pay rent and wasn't on the lease? Boy. Bye. Hopefully for your sake, Sue decides to move out too. She sounds like an asshole. Normally I'm all for solving problems by talking them out like reasonable people. But then I got to, leaving the door unlocked was part of the fun for them. WTF? Nope. They should both leave, because Sue is not a good roommate, or decent person, or your friend. She knew what she was doing. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The big hint is that even his own roommates didn't want him. Living rent-free in your home, he should have been sweet as pie. He sounds like vermin. Your only mistake was waiting this long to get rid of him. Not the asshole, plain and simple. He was an illegal tenant that didn't follow any basic rules clearly and violated public space. Their pleasure shouldn't come at a cost of the other tenants' convenience and being comfortable in their own home. I wonder if you all could have done more to enforce the house rules. You say Sue got upset when you brought it up, but if it gets to the point that the whole house is uncomfortable and everyone just stays quiet about it because she gets upset, you've all really missed a couple of beats. I understand your reasoning though and think Sue and BF's lack of consideration, sex in common areas with door unlocked because they enjoy it, WTF, for anyone else's situation makes them the far larger Oz. So, overall, not the asshole, but you need to stand up for yourselves more. Not the asshole. You signed up to have 5 roommates, not 6. Fish and houseguests start to stink after a few days and Sue was being incredibly inconsiderate.